is, Mike never really was as ambitious about music as we were. We seen him less. You know, there were times where he just wouldn't show up at shows. He wouldn't show up at TV appearances. And it started to wear on our business.
Shawn Stockman seems to be confirming the rumors about Mike Bass McCary's exit from Boyz II Men, and it is awful. It turns out that Mike's departure from the group wasn't just about health issues. The members allegedly did things that didn't sit well with him, ultimately leading to his exit.
It all came down to money. It all came down to the fellas wanting to split 3 ways instead of 4 ways, and wanted to pay me basically like a baggage handler.
This sparked a feud filled with public jabs and accusations, with Mike eventually skipping the reunion altogether.
I don't think our friendship is as strong as it used to be.
Does he still live in Philly?
He's here in Los Angeles, I think. Yeah.
So, what really happened between these once close friends turned enemies? Let's find out.
Everybody was like, he had scoliosis, his back went bad, he couldn't perform, and then they just didn't let him in the group anymore. That's kind of the rumor that took off.
Shawn Stockman from Boyz II Men shared some honest thoughts about his old friend and group member, Michael McCary. He said clearly, "We love Mike. We have always loved Mike. He is our brother for life." Shawn wanted people to understand this first before saying anything else. He knew some people online like to talk without knowing the full story. They act like they understand what happened, but they don't. Shawn explained that Mike never really enjoyed being a singer like the rest of them. He said Mike had the talent, but it was never something he truly wanted in his heart. He joined the group because it was a good opportunity, but he didn't feel the same passion for it.
The truth is, Mike never really was as ambitious about music as we were.
Shawn, Wanya, and Nathan loved performing and making music. But for Mike, it was different. He was always kind of doing his own thing, going in his own direction. But the group never got upset about that. They accepted it because that was just Mike being Mike. As time passed, things got harder. Mike had scoliosis, which means his spine had a curve that made it hard for him to move around like the others. Shawn said they all knew about this and tried their best to work with him. Sometimes when the group performed, Mike would sit on a stool because he couldn't do the dance moves. The group made changes in their shows just to help him. They didn't complain. They were trying to support him. They still wanted him to be a part of the group.
There have been times where we would actually do shows where Mike would be sitting on a stool.
Yeah.
And we were dancing and the whole thing. So we tried practically everything.
But later on, Mike stopped showing up to shows. He also stopped answering their phone calls. It started to feel like he didn't want to be part of the group anymore.
We seen him less. You know, there were times where he just wouldn't show up at shows. He wouldn't show up at TV appearances. And it started to wear on our business.
One day, after not talking to anyone for weeks, Mike suddenly showed up at Wanya's house. Shawn lived around the corner, so Wanya's mom called him and said, "Mike's here." Shawn came over right away. At that time, the group had plans to go to Japan for a big concert. It was going to be a good payday for everyone. Mike had heard about the trip and asked, "When are we going to Japan?" But this confused Shawn and the others. Mike had missed a very important show in Romania. The limo driver told them that Mike waved off the car and never got on the plane. That was the final straw for Shawn. He had reached his limit. He thought, if Mike didn't show up to that show and stopped answering us, then he must not want to be in the group anymore. So when Mike suddenly came back, asking about Japan, it shocked them. Shawn told Mike straight, "We're not going anywhere." He said it with love, but he was also frustrated. He didn't want to keep getting let down. The group couldn't keep being treated that way. They had been trying so hard to work with Mike, but it felt like he didn't care anymore. The situation got worse. Shawn said they got into a real fight, not just words, but a physical fight. Mike slammed Shawn on a table. Shawn said, "Mike's a big guy. I was just trying to protect my face." That day, Shawn had enough. He got up and said, "That's it. You're done."
Let's just cut it because it's only frustrating everybody.
After that fight, they didn't talk again. Shawn said it had been years since he last spoke to Mike, but he still showed respect. He said, "Mike is our brother. We love him. But sometimes brothers fight. Sometimes they grow apart. It doesn't mean we don't love each other anymore." Shawn made it clear that there was no hate. It was just that they were all in different parts of their lives now. They had different goals and ways of thinking.
I haven't spoken to Mike in years. And I think the last time that I saw him was, I think, on that Ayanla show.
Someone asked Shawn why they never replaced Mike with someone new. Was it hard to find another bass singer? Shawn said they actually asked their fans on the website if they would accept a fourth member. Almost everyone said no. The fans wanted the group to stay as 3. They didn't want anyone else on stage but Shawn, Wanya, and Nathan. The fans felt like adding someone new would change the special feeling of the group. So the group respected that and decided to stay a trio. Even though they thought about adding someone else, maybe from another group like Take 6, they didn't go through with it. They thought of a few names. They were open to the idea. But in the end, they listened to what the fans wanted. The fans felt like nobody else could fit in. The group stayed as 3. And even with the changes, they kept going strong. Then, in 2016, Michael finally opened up. He said his exit was not a peaceful one.
It all came down to money. It all came down to the fellas wanting to split 3 ways instead of 4 ways. And wanted to pay me basically like a baggage handler.
According to him, the way the group treated him hurt him deeply. He said they didn't support him. Instead of helping him during his illness, he said they left him behind. He felt like they abandoned him. In a very sad interview, he said he felt betrayed by the people he once called his brothers. "If I had to sum up what I got from my brothers in Boyz II Men, I would have to say betrayal, a broken bond," Michael said with tears in his eyes. It's clear there were 2 sides to this story. Michael felt sick and needed help. He hoped his group would understand and support him.
Everybody was like, he had scoliosis, his back went bad, he couldn't perform, and then they just didn't let him in the group anymore. That's kind of the rumor that took off.
But the group felt let down. They said Michael didn't show up and left them in a hard spot. Both sides felt hurt. Both sides felt misunderstood. And because they didn't talk openly at the time, the pain grew between them. Some fans also believed there were other problems going on. Around that time, Boyz II Men wasn't as popular as before. The early 2000s were a hard time for R&B music. The music scene was changing. The group's new albums weren't selling like their old ones. Some fans believe Michael lost hope. Nate Morris even said, "It seems like he kind of gave up when things didn't go well." He was talking about the group's 4th and 5th albums that didn't sell millions like the first ones. In the early 1990s, Boyz II Men became one of the most popular music groups in the world. People loved their soft voices, smooth love songs, and clean image. But not everyone was happy with how they were presented. Some music critics and fans started to say that the group looked and sounded too clean. They said Boyz II Men's image was made to look perfect just to make white people feel comfortable. The group wore nice suits, stayed out of trouble, and always had polite manners in interviews. Critics felt this wasn't real or natural. They believed the group was being forced to hide their true selves so they could sell more records to a wider audience, especially white fans. This caused some people to see them as fake, even though their talent was real. During the 1990s, Boyz II Men's songs were everywhere, on the radio, on TV, and in stores. At first, this helped them become very famous.
The Grammy-winning group is considered one of the most successful R&B groups of all time, selling an estimated, get this, 60 million records.
But over time, some people got tired of hearing them all the time. Industry insiders like radio and TV people started to say that Motown Records, the label that signed Boyz II Men, was pushing them too much.
They still love you, so it don't matter.
Love you too.
Every time you turned on MTV or a music station, you would hear their songs. Some said it felt like too much and they needed a break from it. This overpromotion caused some backlash. When people feel something is being forced on them, they sometimes start to dislike it. This happened to Boyz II Men. Even though their songs were still good, some radio stations and MTV started to play them less because of the complaints. Behind the scenes, things were also not going well between Boyz II Men and Motown Records. At first, they had a good working relationship, but as time went on, the group wanted more control over their music. They wanted to choose their songs and decide how their albums should sound. However, Motown had different plans. The label wanted to keep control, and that made the group unhappy. They also felt Motown was not promoting their newer music as well as they had done before. Boyz II Men believed they were being treated unfairly. The trust between the group and the label slowly broke down. After many disagreements, Boyz II Men decided to leave Motown and move on. It was a hard decision, but they felt it was the best thing for their future. The journey of Boyz II Men began with a dream. Nathan Morris was a young student who loved music. He studied classical and jazz music and wanted to create something new. He and his friends from school formed a group called Unique Attraction. They didn't have much money, but they saved up to buy matching suits so they could look professional. Their big moment came when they performed at a Valentine's Day concert. Their singing was perfect, and their dance moves were smooth and together. The crowd loved them, and the group felt they had something special. Later, the group changed their name to Boyz II Men. The name came from a song by another group they admired, New Edition. One day, they saw members of New Edition at a show and boldly approached them. They sang "Can You Stand the Rain?" right there for Michael Bivins, a member of New Edition. He was very impressed with their talent. Bivins decided to help them. He got them signed to Motown Records, wrote songs with them, and produced their first album. This was the big break they had dreamed about. In 1991, Boyz II Men released their first hit, Motown Philly. The song had a fun beat, smooth voices, and a mix of hip-hop and R&B. It reached number 3 on the Billboard chart and made people notice them. Their next song, It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday, was slower and very emotional.
It's so hard to say goodbye.
That one reached number 2, but their biggest hit came with End of the Road. This song stayed at number 1 for 13 weeks in a row. It was about love and heartbreak, and everyone could relate to it. Their first album, Cooley High Harmony, sold over 9 million copies. Their songs were played at proms, weddings, and family events. People of all ages loved them. Boyz II Men also went on tour with rapper MC Hammer. Over time, they won 4 Grammy Awards. Their second album, 2, was even more successful. It sold around 12 million copies in the US alone. The group made history by having 2 #1 songs in a row on the Billboard charts. Only legends like Elvis Presley and the Beatles had done that before. They became the biggest selling group in Motown Records history. But success did not protect them from heartbreak. While they were on tour, something tragic happened. Their tour manager, Khalil Roundtree, was shot and killed during a robbery attempt in Chicago. Roundtree and another manager, Qadri El Amin, were staying at a hotel with the group. One night, 3 men came into the hotel and started knocking on doors, trying to rob people. Roundtree and El Amin tried to stop the robbers to protect the group. Sadly, during the struggle, both men were shot. Roundtree died, and El Amin was shot in the knee, but survived. This terrible event shocked the group and their fans. Motown Records spoke out after the shooting. A spokesperson said they couldn't believe what had happened. Boyz II Men was known as a peaceful and respectful group. They didn't get into trouble like some other artists. Their manager, Roundtree, was just as kind and professional. Nobody could understand why anyone would want to hurt them. Fans were also heartbroken. It didn't seem fair that such a tragedy could happen to people who only wanted to make good music and stay out of trouble. Nathan Morris later shared how deeply the loss affected them. Khalil Roundtree wasn't just a manager. He was like a father to them. He guided the group, gave them advice, and supported them through all the ups and downs. His death left a big hole in their lives. It took them a long time to feel strong again.
If Khalil was alive today, he would be sitting right in the sidelines with his big cigar and his big rings.
To honor his memory, Boyz II Men added a special track called Khalil to their 1994 album 2. It was their way of keeping his spirit alive and thanking him for everything he had done.
I need shelter from the rain.
As time went on, Boyz II Men were not as popular as before. Their songs didn't do so well on the music charts anymore. People started to wonder why. Some fans thought the music industry no longer supported them. Others believed their style was old-fashioned and didn't fit the new sound of the time. Music was changing fast, and maybe the group didn't change with it. Even though they still had great voices, fewer people were buying their albums or playing their songs on the radio. After the year 2000, Boyz II Men didn't get many Grammy nominations. This made a lot of fans upset. They believed the group still made good music and deserved awards, but the Grammys didn't seem to agree. Some people in the music industry also felt the group was being ignored. Even though the group sang beautifully, they were not getting the respect they once had. It felt like the world moved on, even if the group still worked hard and sang well. There was also some tension with other celebrities. Boyz II Men once made a big hit with Mariah Carey called One Sweet Day. But later, during talks about doing a versus battle, things felt a little uncomfortable. Mariah Carey said she thought the group didn't bring enough energy when they worked together again. Boyz II Men didn't argue, but their reply was very careful. Still, fans could feel something was wrong between them. Younger R&B singers also had things to say. Some of them said Boyz II Men didn't understand the new sound of R&B. They said the group was out of touch. In return, Boyz II Men didn't directly fight back, but they made quiet comments about how music today has changed too much. Also, the music world started to change. R&B music was becoming more edgy, with stronger beats and lyrics about tough topics. Boyz II Men, however, stayed with their soft, romantic songs. Some people started calling their music too safe or even corny. These critics believed their music was not exciting anymore. They thought it didn't fit in with the new sound of R&B. Even though many fans still loved their songs, the group had to deal with people making fun of their style. Later on, the group began to work with artists from different music styles, like adult contemporary. They also started doing shows in Las Vegas. Some fans didn't like this change. They said the group had forgotten where they came from. These fans felt the group was leaving behind their R&B roots just to make money. Some even called them sellouts. This word means someone who gives up what they believe in just to stay popular or rich. While Boyz II Men said they were just growing and trying new things. Not everyone agreed with their choices. When Boyz II Men started their Las Vegas shows, it brought in big crowds. The residency was a success, but some of their longtime fans saw it differently. They felt the group was retired from making fresh music. Instead of releasing new hits, fans felt they were only singing their old songs. One of their biggest songs, I'll Make Love to You, caused trouble when it first came out. Some radio stations wouldn't play it because of the sexual lyrics. Even though it became a huge hit, not everyone approved of it. In 2019, music producer Dallas Austin talked about his bad experience with the R&B group Boyz II Men. He said he had problems with them for many years, starting from when he was young. At the time, he was just a teenager trying to make it in the music business. He worked hard, but said he was not treated fairly. He felt like the group didn't respect him, even though he helped them create their first album, which became a big hit. He said he was only paid a very small amount. That made him feel used. He was upset because that album, Cooley High Harmony, sold over 9 million copies. It made the group famous, but Dallas said he didn't get what he deserved. He said he only got crumbs, even though he worked on most of the songs. Dallas Austin is not just any producer. He became a big name in the music industry. Over the years, he worked with many stars like TLC, Monica, Gwen Stefani, Pink, Macy Gray, Outkast, and Janet Jackson. His talent was well known and people respected his work. But he said that his time with Boyz II Men was one of the worst. It left him feeling bitter. He said that no matter how many hits he made later, he couldn't forget how the group made him feel back then. That bad memory stayed with him for a long time. In an interview with Vlad TV, Dallas gave more details about what happened. He explained that he met Boyz II Men when he was still very young. He was just starting out in the music world. Even though he was new, he worked very hard in the studio. He said he produced almost every song on their first album. But when it was time to make their second album, things changed. Dallas said the group started acting like they were better than everyone else.
By the time we were working on the second album, I remember us sitting in the studio and they were going, man, you know, I can't finish counting the diamonds in my Rolex right now.
They were now rich and famous, and he felt like they became full of themselves. He remembered how they would walk into the studio and brag about how much money they made and how successful they were. This bothered Dallas a lot.
And then the award show comes on and they go, oh, we got to let somebody win this year. Good thing we're not there. And I'm like, these guys are.
He also said that the group wanted to work with him again for their second album, but he refused to work with them because of how they had treated him before. Still, he ended up producing one song for them called Thank You. But even that didn't go well.
Right there. And I thank you, thank you.
He said they were difficult to work with and full of ego. He was so frustrated that he joked and said he wanted to shoot everybody. Of course, he didn't mean it seriously, but it showed just how angry and hurt he felt. Things got worse when another big music producer, Babyface, came into the picture. Babyface brought them a song called I'll Make Love to You. Dallas said that when Babyface played the song for the group, they told him it was a terrible song. They didn't want to record it, but the people around them made them do it anyway. In the end, that song became one of their biggest hits. It showed that sometimes the group didn't know what was best for them. Dallas felt like they were too proud and didn't listen to others who were trying to help.
I'll make love to you when you want me to.
After Dallas told his story, Nathan Morris, a member of Boyz II Men, responded on Twitter. He was very upset. He said Dallas was lying and making things up. Nathan said the story wasn't true and that Dallas was just trying to make them look bad. He was angry that Dallas shared that story in public. Because of this, people are still not sure who is telling the full truth.